My husband and I have a blended family of 4 adult children. 3 of them are straight A, straight-laced types. And then there's our free-spirited child, Timmy. From him, I've learned 2 very important lessons. Our real adventures with Timmy began when he got his first job at a restaurant near our home. Perhaps you would imagine that he was a busboy or maybe a server, but you would be wrong. No, Timmy was an advertising mascot. In the blistering heat and freezing cold, every day after school, between 4 and 6, Timmy worked the street corner like a happy hour hooker. Dressed in an alligator suit, he waddled up and down the street holding signs like dinner specials and $2 drafts. Now, at first, Timmy was a little embarrassed about his job, and he asked that we not tell anyone, not his friends nor his siblings. And we honored this request, but eventually, as we were unable to avoid driving by Gator Corner to go anywhere, the kids began to put 2 and 2 together. I could swear I've seen that walk somewhere, that swagger. And wait a minute, how come Timmy's never with us when that gator's out there working? Timmy's secret was finally out, but everyone thought it was cool, and like knowing a celebrity, we were all proud. That is, until the day we found Timmy peddling more than cheap tacos and brews. It was a blustery day when we hit the stoplight at Gator Corner. Off in the distance, we could see Timmy in his big green suit, hips swaying, big head bobbing, grasping a sign that read, "Hot New Men." As we neared, we realized that Timmy's mitted claw was completely covering the U. And instead of hawking the new menu, he'd inadvertently been peddling an all-male review. Despite this career setback, Timmy continued to waddle for another year or so. And while this laid-back, what me worry attitude served him well most of the time, forethought was sometimes lacking. Like that time, my husband and I were out running errands when, out of the blue, Timmy thoughtfully called to inform us that he and his friends had just left the house and they noticed some damage on the front of our new minivan, which was parked on the street. Now, keep in mind, I'm sure like some of your children, Timmy never calls unless he needs something. You got that right. So after seeing the location of the damage and the position of our van relative to the driveway, it was obvious that Timmy's crew had clipped the van as they were backing out. I called Timmy. So, hey, this is how all conversations with Timmy are to start in order to get him relaxed and comfortable. So while we were out looking at the car, Mr. Jones from across the street came out and told us he saw what happened. This was a little white lie, a technique I'd seen used in TV murder investigations. So after a brief moment of silence, Timmy blurted out, "Dadgum, Mr. Jones," or words to that effect. No alligator shuffle can beat maternal forensics. As Timmy's mother, I learned to be very wary of thoughtful phone calls. Well, Timmy's all grown up, that's the good news, and he's graduated from college. He's actually on his own. A relatively recent turn of events that almost didn't happen. You see, several months back, Timmy informed us that he'd landed a good job. And naturally, we were elated. But there was a catch. Our free-spirited son had to pass a test, a certain screening. So I asked Timmy how he thinks he'll do, and he point blank tells me, as if it's the dumbest question I've ever asked in the world, that he's not going to pass. And before I can scream, he interjects, "Don't worry, Mom, I've got this." Then proceeds to tell me his plan, which is, at best, I figure, a 50-50 proposition. So a couple of days later, just before the big test, my husband and I are out with church friends, and someone suggests we list our concerns and pray for each other. So when it's my turn, I explain Timmy's situation, the test he's about to take, and what needs to occur to get him employed and out of our hair. And after a few seconds of dead silence, I turn to my husband and say, "They're not going to pray for this, are they?" And after some discussion and careful wordsmithing, we all prayed, and several days later, Timmy got his job.
All right.
So, what have I learned from being Timmy's mother? I've learned to pray a lot. And whenever possible, let life's little problems roll. Roll like water off an alligator's back.
All right.